So, thank you. Happy Friday, everybody. You are back for episode 3 of The Adventures of Steph and Tracy. So we hope you had a fantastic week. I think this is the 3rd week in January now. Welcome to everybody that's viewing. We are live on StreamYard, which means if you give StreamYard permission, we can actually post your comments on the screen and see them as they're coming in. So episode 3 of The Adventures of Steph and Tracy tonight is all about looking back at 2020 and forward into 2021. We're going to keep it light and fun and leave you with a couple little questions. So we wanted to start with 2020 kind of sent us all into a bit of isolation. Some of us are still in lockdowns around the world and still in restrictions. So we know it's been harder in 2020 because we've been more isolated from our family and friends. And I guess what I should do is say, I'm Stephanie of The Adventures of Steph, and this is...
Hi, I'm Tracy.
So sorry, I always forget the introductions off the start. So we wanted to start 2020 or looking back at 2020 as that kind of disconnected us, but how can we use social media tonight to connect with other people? So first thing we wanted you to do is let us know if you're catching this live, #live or #replay. And we'd love you to tell us where you're joining from tonight and what time is it there? Because we're always curious, where are people watching our videos from? What time is it there? When do people see them? Is it Friday night for you? Is it Saturday morning? Did you catch it on Monday? We're still in the process of learning about social media and how it works. So tell us where you're from and what time it is there. So we are coming at you live from Saskatchewan. Anything else about 2020 while people are tagging here? I'm going to check the comments and see if we have anything coming through.
I was lucky enough, the stars aligned, and I chose to go to a growth mindset workshop last weekend with a good friend of mine. And through that, she asked some really thoughtful questions, thought-provoking questions. And one of them was, what powerful awareness did you have about the world in 2020? And so for me, I said that connection is vital to the wellness of others and myself. And so whether that connection, like Steph said, is social media, or whether we choose to do, a phone call that maybe we don't typically make a phone call. I had to get used to talking to 2 of my older boys through FaceTime, which I don't like FaceTime, but it was the only way I got to see them. And Christmas morning had the split screen of the 2 boys that weren't able to be with us, and one across the country and one not very far from home, but still unable to be in the same house with us. So I think that connection is vital. The other thing that I think for my family, and something that I think I noticed from around the world, was that our regular routine and busy life, and so I know some people will argue the busy part, but we do get scheduled, and that scheduled life leads to a mask in perhaps some of the underlying issues that kind of bubble and stay bubbling but don't actually rise to the surface. So we've been seeing some of that in one of my younger children, and so the pandemic has kind of been the trigger that has caused some just emotional ups and downs and some stuff that we're working through. But I think before the pandemic, our regular routines helped to mask that, and we just kept going, we just kept moving, and we just, okay, now we do this, and okay, now we do that. And so when we had to sit down and really focus on not going anywhere and what we were going to do in our own backyards, it kind of brings some of those maybe struggles to the surface. So that was me. What about you, Steph?
I think when you talk about routines, and remember, if you're watching us, say #live or #replay, let us know where in the world you're joining from. Our goal tonight is to try to hit every province and territory in Canada. So let us know if you're seeing this in Newfoundland or BC or anywhere like that. Add your comments in. We can feature them on the screen. Thank you to the people that are watching tonight. So I think when you talked about routine, it really was, Monday is this, Tuesday is this, and we just go and we have, a Zoom call for whatever at this night, we have work on this time, and everything kind of just either slowed, and we had to find some new routines, and we had to make a point of finding new ways to connect. I think connection has been huge, whether that's getting on. Hi to Amanda from Red Deer, Alberta. So we have Alberta in the house here tonight. Let us know again where you're from. I think it was when we slowed down, it was nice to be able to have more meals together at the table. I know that makes a difference, but we lost connection with some of family and friends. I mean, we can video call, we can Zoom call, but it's not the same. And I was reading an article that talks about when you connect through social media, that's great. And it does help us with that connection piece a bit, but it does not light up the same centers of our brain as actually having a conversation with the person in the same room. And I know with people wearing masks, which is necessary and we need to do that, it's even harder to read some of that facial expressions. We rely a lot on the eyes. I know I have to pay even more attention just to hear what people are saying. I didn't realize how much I rely on not that I'm a good lip reader, but you pick up a lot from this part of the face. So our brains are working harder even when we are connecting with people safely from a distance, masked, face to face, which is what we need to do right now. But it is that connection piece that we're missing. And so Friday nights are fun for us because we get a chance to talk a little bit before and then talk to all of you. And so I think my other thing that would come from that question that you asked before, Tracy, and maybe we should just repeat the question in case we have people joining us.
Sure. So the question that I posed was, what powerful awareness did I have about the world in 2020?
And I think it went back to, for me, one of my kind of focus of the year would be perspective. And it's how we face the adventure in front of us or the challenge in front of us, or however you want to view that, changes how we respond to that situation. It changes how we see it in our brain. So do we see it as an opportunity, as something that can bring growth to us? Or do we, we all have ups and downs, and we have days where we're frustrated with things, or we just don't have that energy anymore because we're missing those people that used to pump us up and kind of pick us up, dust us off, and send us back out into the world, or just those incidental contacts. I know I was talking with some coworkers, and we just miss when you cross in the hallway and you'd have a conversation for 30 seconds. But I think it really brought home the perspective. We all, for the very first time in history across the world, have something in common with people. Everybody on this planet, you could start a conversation, minus the language barriers, but you could start a conversation and say, what about that pandemic? Or, you could ask them, what were you doing when that started? Or are you in lockdown right now? There's something that we have for the first time in worldwide history, we all have in common. Now, none of us went through it in exactly the same way. I think the boat analogy is one of the best things that I've heard. We're all in the same pandemic storm, but the boat that we're traveling through the storm can look very different. So for some of us, it might feel like we're in a rowboat that's sinking because it's getting waterlogged and we can't bail the water out fast enough. And some people are on a giant yacht and cruising along and it's working okay for them. And they're maybe in a part of the country or part of the world where life didn't change a whole lot, or they were already working from home, so their routines haven't changed. So we all have something in common for the very first time. However, we didn't experience exactly the same thing. And some of us have gone through a lot of loss during this time and haven't been able to connect with loved ones and things like that. But I think it's that perspective that we have. So how do we flip it and look at this as an opportunity to reach out and make connections and restart those conversations with people, and think about one of the best future boosts if we talked about the book Super Better a couple weeks ago, is thinking about those things that are coming up in the future and getting excited about when we can get together. And who would you talk to first? Or would you head to the lake and have a campfire with family and a few friends there? What are some of those things? So let us know maybe in the comments some of those things that you are excited for in 2021 that we're hoping that we can get back to, because even just thinking about those positives coming in the future is actually a power up for your brain.
Yeah, for me, one of the things that came out of the visionary or the growth mindset workshop was some of the tools that you can use to help yourself. And so one of them is breathing. Another one is the EFT tapping. And we won't get into that tonight. Maybe we can have Laura on as a guest speaker one of our Fridays to talk about some of those strategies. But for me, I've really started to I've always felt that I had a gratefulness practice. So I feel like I have a lot of things to be grateful for in my life. And I know there's lots of catchphrases, and it's become kind of the latest thing, mindset and gratefulness and being kind and all of those basic human, we all should practice those things. But sometimes we don't do it. Yeah, common sense. We don't do it consciously. And so one thing that I have started doing is verbalizing what I am grateful for. And my top, I could probably list hundreds, but my top 2 or 3 things for the day that I'm going to focus on. And so then that is how I start my day, and that is how I end my day, is consciously thinking about what I'm grateful for. And it just sets a different tone for that.
Yes, that sounds like fun.
First, does, Amanda.
Together. And what would that be like? It seems almost strange to be with people for getting together with people. It seems like we've been separated for so long. I even watched something on TV and I thought, oh my goodness, people are really close in that show. And then I thought, what's happening to my brain where I think the people on TV are too close? I mean, it was recorded years ago before, there was a pandemic in place. So I think, like Tracy's mentioned, starting the day with gratitude and reaching out. One of the other power-ups, one of the most powerful mental power-ups, is to reach out to people and let them know that you're glad that they're in your life, that you're grateful for the things that they do. So one of the things we would challenge you to do tonight is do a gratefulness comment in the comments if you're comfortable with that. The other challenge would be to pick one person, send a Facebook message, send a text. Bonus if you want to actually call them up on the phone and say, hey, I was thinking of you. And that was the other thing we thought tonight. What we could do is we're trying to see if we can hit all the different provinces in Canada. Can we get anyone connected in from different countries in the world? So let us know again where you're from, hashtag live, hashtag replay. Where are you from? What time are you catching this? And then even on this little video tonight, tag a friend. So I could say, hey, at Tracy Dickey, let me know, I was thinking of you. All of the positive things in this video made me think of you. Just wanted to say hi. So you could reach out and do that tonight. You can tag them in the comments, let them know, hey, this is my friend in Australia, or this is my friend in the States, or this is my friend in Newfoundland that I was thinking of tonight. And I know what we will do coming up is, I was talking to some of our Newfoundland friends, and we know that different parts of Canada and different parts of the world have different phrases. And one of my posts yesterday on my Facebook timeline was, what are the phrases that are unique to your part of Canada or your part of the world? We did do a Newfoundland versus Saskatchewan terms a couple weeks ago, or maybe that was a couple months ago now. So let us know if you've got some good words for us. So I'm going to start collecting unique words, and then we're going to do a challenge one night and see if we can figure out what those unique words are. So I get people to submit them to me. We don't tell each other what the answers are. There's no Googling allowed. And then what did we learn last time? Grid roads in Saskatchewan is apparently unique. Toque, bunny hugs a pretty unique one. Vico. So let us know what are some of those unique words that we could use in a challenge coming up next week. And I know a couple people posted here. Jody says, happy Friday. Happy Friday, Jody. It is. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Yes, traveling again would be great. Yes. And so many things to see in our province. So I think that's been a great realization that we are very fortunate to live in places where we can get outside, and in the winter we can go snowmobiling, and we've had a beautiful winter. Maybe let us know where you're tuning in from if you had a great winter. We've had snow, so we can get outside and do winter activities, but it hasn't been super cold yet for us.
And this weekend's changing its tune, I think.
Yes. Chance to spend some good time inside, maybe reading, or still bundle up and get out and go for a walk. Amanda says gratitude is so important. Every night my kids and I talk about all the things we are grateful for. Yes. And that's a great practice. So a good example of how you can use gratitude in your life. One of my favorite gifts that my daughter made for me is this glass jar, and on the top it says 100 reasons that I love you. And so she wrote out 100. She said she was going for 365, but 100 fit into the jar. And so every day I can reach into the jar, unfold one of those, and it's something that she loves about the connection that we have. So that fills my heart with joy every day. And I think, like Tracy said, it's just pausing for a moment. And this morning I took a minute and just looked outside and enjoyed part of the sunrise, because it's at a time of day when I'm up. I'm not up as early as Tracy is. She's probably out running when the sun comes up, or earlier before.
I was today. Yeah.
So there's so many beautiful things to pause and take a moment, and it only needs to be 30 seconds or 60 seconds. Take a breath. My new journal actually has a spot at the bottom where you can check off if you had a moment of gratitude, or, paused for a moment to do that. So lots of ways to help set reminders. I know people who use their phones and they set a reminder on their phone that pops up with a favorite quotation or something that just reminds them to stop for a moment. So those are a few different power-ups. practicing gratitude, connecting with other people. So let us know again where you're from. Tag somebody that's from a different location. Let them know that you're thinking of them, or just send them a text message, Facebook message, phone call, video call. I'm thankful that we have many ways to connect. And I think 2020 taught me a lot about perspective and looking towards how we can see the positive in things. Not that every day is going to be amazing and happy and perfect, but if we can find something small in each day that helps us flip our mindset to the good, that changes it. And if you can change that inner voice to more positive, that is going to change how you see the world. So when you change how you see the world that you see changes. So that would be our challenge to you. Tracy, other things to add? We're going to end with common phrases you might have heard in 2020, because we got a little bit serious. So now we're going to maybe smile a little bit. So start thinking about, if you're watching out there, what are some common phrases of 2020? But anything to wrap up before we go to that part, Tracy?
Just the last thing for me, and it was a real reminder on the weekend, just how much your breath can affect how you feel. And so often I get my breath stuck in my chest. So remembering to take that big, deep breath and drop my shoulders so that my shoulders aren't up around my ears. And when I do that, then I feel better. And I just take that minute. And whether that minute involves looking out the window, like Steph said, or petting an animal, or giving your kid an extra long hug because we can't hug anyone else right now. It's just, that's something. My shoulders are usually up here, so I've been spending a lot of time just making sure that I drop my shoulders and take those big deep breaths. But I will start with my
I have
quote.
one thing to add based on what you said. Okay. I did read an article that talked about hugging your kids, and what it said is often as adults we give a quick hug and then we let go, but if you pay attention, your child is still probably has their arms wrapped around you. So the challenge in the article that I read was hug your child until you feel them loosening, because that's what they need in that moment. So sometimes I catch myself loosening from the hug before perhaps my daughter has released from that amazing squeeze. So take that moment, breathe it in, and really enjoy that hug. And I can completely relate to my shoulders, because some days I think, how am I like this? Why are my shoulders up around my ears? So I don't know why some days are like that more than others, but sitting up straight, I found that perhaps 2020, I may have been slouching over my computer quite a lot. Tracy, common phrases of 2020.
I think when I was teaching from home in March, it was, where are the kids? Where are my children? We live on an acreage, as I've said before, and I have a big window I can look out of, but often I didn't know where they were. So somewhere they were safe and no harm was done, but sometimes they were riding motorized devices. Sometimes they were riding horses. Sometimes they were riding bikes. I was very, very thankful for the space that we have. But yeah, where are my kids was one of mine. What about you?
I'm just going to remind people, so add your common phrases of 2020 into the comments there. Because I spent a lot of time on video calls, one of the most common things was, you're on mute. You're still on mute. Let me show you where the mute button is. Even now we're like, nope, still on mute. And I think the other one online was, is my screen sharing yet? Can you see my screen? And then I think there's that one Facebook video going around they play out in video what a Zoom call would look like. And you have people standing outside and they're rattling the door because they can't get in or they don't remember the password. And then you have people that are interrupting people face to face because, there's a delay in the video. So I'm going to be so thankful when we can actually meet face to face. I'm glad that we can still continue to do all the amazing things we do with video, and that we live in a time where we have that option, so that Tracy and I can visit and connect with all of you on a Friday night from Saskatchewan and connect out into the world. So let us know in the comments what the common phrases of 2020 were. Tracy, any last ones to think of before we wrap up?
What are we having for supper?
Yeah, yes. I'm going to go.
As we were all home. Mind you, that's just common in my house. What are we having for supper? When is supper ready?
Do you have meal planning tips for both of us? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because always looking for how to get past that. What's for supper? I'm tired. Are you making supper? Am I making supper? So thank you so much for joining us all tonight. Let us know if you are enjoying the broadcast. If you have suggestions for next time for the Adventures of Steph and Tracy, or if you'd like to be a guest with us on the Adventures of Steph and Tracy, and we will let you know when we're going to do the Fun Words Challenge. So have a fantastic... Oh, Amanda says, this one made me laugh out loud. Why aren't you wearing it?
That's a good one.
Oh, Amanda, you made my day. That's hilarious. I hadn't even thought of that, but there was that one Zoom video where the person forgot that they were on camera and only dressed really appropriately from the top up. So yes, hopefully you are all fully dressed for video calls in the future. So take care, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great evening.
Friday.
Yes, happy Friday.